How many guitar players does it take to screw in a light bulb? 6. 1 to actually screw it in, and then 5 to stand there and say, I could have done that faster. Hey, what's happening? I'm Kevin McLaughlin, and this is the Riffs and
Rhythms Podcast. I'm Paul Robertson.
I've been instructed to do some necessaries right at the beginning. Now, because even though my friend Paul is awesome, he's got a bit of a self-esteem issue, and he's afraid that you might stop the video before we get a chance to ask you to go ahead and click the subscribe button and make the bell go. Our bell sound effect is that's our replacement bell sound effect because we got high dollar people in the background.
Don't worry.
Anyway, it's no wonder he's afraid you guys are going to shut this thing off. Anyway, what we would like to do is be able to continue to provide these high-quality productions. And the only way we can do that is if you're watching. So please, at least pretend like you're subscribing and click the button. Hey! All right.
Give yourself an applause there.
Thank you, Dino.
Thank you. Wow.
Dino is our resident intern. He's come a long way. The first time he worked with us, he broke 2 cameras during the show. And now he's almost able to get the bell sound at the right time. So how about a big round of applause for Dino, who truly, really is awesome. Thank you so much. We'd love to give you a hard time because I'm an equal opportunity giver, a hard timer.
Can you see his face behind the monitor?
I can.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I can see the look of disgust.
I wasn't sure if he was making faces at you behind.
He is.
There,
He is. It's okay. I deserve it. Yeah. But he knows we love him. We wouldn't give him a hard time if we didn't care.
Yeah, so don't forget, again, check out the subscribe to this podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts as well. Give us a 5-star. Give us a review. We're under the Drums and Rums podcast channel there. So you'll see the Drums and Rums show. You'll see our show here, Riffs and Rhythms. So there's a whole lot of other stuff going on. We got a website there, Riffs and Rhythms. Check out the Patreon again. Just help support the podcast. It's a little as $3 throw in. Give us a little support here if you like what we're doing here. And let's get to it.
The Riffs and Rhythms cha-ching section. Here we go. What is going on in the cha-ching section?
Well, the cha-ching section is what's coming up here.
Oh, we've got some
end of July.
We got some super cool events coming up. We have the Day Out of Time Festival, July 26th and 27th. It's so good we had to fill it into 2 days. And what it is it's a backyard party. We're having a party at Eddie's house. And you got to be invited. All you got to do to get invited is say, I want to come. I want to be there. And we will invite you. And when you put your donation in, $30 for one day, $50 for the weekend, you get a coin. And this coin /token/poker chip gets you into the party. And
right.
Fantastic, mate.
It is fantastic. And when I say backyard party, I want you to understand that we're not going to be sitting on a screen porch. We're going to have hundreds of people on a 5-acre facility that's got a river running through it, a 30 by 60 covered stage. It's got
a teepee. What's that?
It's got a food pavilion with a refrigerator and all. It's serious. Camping section. We have camping available. This is for real. This guy's got it's not just a backyard. It is a party. Festive. What's the word I'm looking for?
Festivities.
It's party headquarters. That's for sure.
Right. So it'll be like Woodstock, but like '69 Woodstock, and not
Woodstock, but with added technology.
99, not 99
pills.
Okay. So
and it is a concert that is featuring the Brothers After All, everybody's favorite and most authentic.
I think I know somebody in that band.
You do.
A couple of people, actually.
Most authentic Allman Brothers tribute act, in which that band has been gaining momentum. It's amazing how well people like that band. Crazy Fingers, doing their version of all the Grateful Dead favorites, right? Plus their own. And then we've got the Lefty Hathaway Band, which is funky soul roots rock with a little bit of a New Orleans twist on it. And then we've got the Kevin McLaughlin Band, which is classic rock with a jam band twist, classic blues rock. And it is just going to be an absolutely memorable party for the ages.
All right.
OMG.
Right.
I know. Girls say that to me all
OMG.
the time. Usually when I'm taking their parking spot.
Dino is on fire with the sound effects today. Now that he got all the technical difficulties worked out there. So, yeah, so dayoutoftimefest.com. Check it out. You can't find it, search it, and so forth. You got to type it in.
It is unsearchable. It is underground because it's a private residence. You know, we got to keep it down on the DL. So you can't search it. It is ungoogleable. But if you go to the tippy top of your screen and actually type it into the address bar, you'll get straight to it.
Very cool.
That's the secret.
All right, so that's all of our housekeeping notes there. So
Did I do a good job of promoting it? Is there anything that I left out?
I think we're good. I think we're good. So again, if
you got to bring your own. It's BYOB. Bring your own food and bring your own drinks. They're going to have a big old grill. You can cook your own food there, but it has to be yours. We're not going to feed you.
damn it. So if you want to learn more of the story behind the festival and a little bit of the history there, check out episode 38 there. So just a few episodes ago there. Kevin talked about the story behind how the idea came up and so forth. So, yes, this is going to be interesting, man.
She hates it when I mention her name, but this is Tracy's event.
Who?
Tracy.
Who?
Tracy thought of all of this, and she totally rocks.
I'm not sure if I know her.
Well, I'll introduce you to her. She's the coolest chick I've ever met.
Her name's Tracy?
Her name is Tracy.
Okay.
Yeah, and she came up with this whole Day Out of Time Fest project, and I am helping make it a reality.
That's it.
And so is Eddie.
Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie.
All right. Well, we don't have Eddie on the podcast, but we do have an awesome guest here who's joining us from last week's show, Mr. Jason Montero. How you doing, Jason?
Good. What's happening?
Yeah,
Nice
man.
to be back.
So, yeah.
Welcome back. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
So,
Now, Jason and I have been working together, and we are putting our heads together and making some impressive cleavage.
I like to see that happen.
I bet you would.
Well,
Each wear one big purple eye patch, so it'll look like a bathing suit.
I look a good pair of cleavages. So, yes, thanks to be back on the show here. So, you had good gigging over the last week here since the last time you were on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, man. It's for June, it's hit and miss out here with the weather. It's either, if it's not 1,000 degrees, it's a hailstorm or something. But it's been nice out. It's been good nights out there. I like this time of year when it slows down a little, population-wise. So
I think that's a really great point. We haven't actually talked to Andy before about the weather. As much as everyone loves Florida, the weather, it's hot, it's sun, all those things, but it's actually can be really tough in the summertime for musicians.
brutal on the gig.
Since there's a lot of outdoor venues.
I have a Godin guitar, and it's almost become a gag at this point. It fails every single summer. It fails, and it needs to be repaired. Unbelievable.
Okay, so let's put a shout out to Godin Guitars. We've got someone who is a diehard Godin user. I know you've had that thing for a long time.
I sure have.
He loves his guitar, except when it fails at every show.
So what do you do? Where do you go, or how do you get it?
For a long time, I was with Dave Wilt in Port St. Lucie.
No,
Great
Dave,
first,
he's awesome.
First fret guitars, awesome guy. He was an engineer before he was a luthier, and I had another luthier in Arizona, John Reuter Guitars. Same, he was an engineer before he became a luthier, and it's nice because you could really start to understand the scientifics of the instrument when they explain it to you. Now Michael Paparo plays bass in most of my bands that I play with Michael, and he also repairs and builds fretted instruments and stringed instruments, Paparo frets. And he's out of Palm Beach, so now I usually bring it to him at a gig, and I bring him a box of spare parts that I have at the house, and I say, "Can you make this work again?" So he has accepted the challenge of the Godin.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of that kind of guitar, but again,
They're good guitars,
I'm not a
and
guitar
They're out of Canada, same maker as Siegel now. They're just one manufacturer. They're very nice guitars, but a little temperamental. Here, we're beyond the tolerances here in Florida. They don't intend you to use these instruments
Right.
at 105 degrees and 98% humidity, 30 nights a month. Not what they were built for, so.
Well, you had some of those concerns when you did the blues challenge, right?
Yeah, it was the other direction, though.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to keep your guitar in tune when it's freaking 6 degrees outside.
Right, no.
Yeah.
You go from, what was it, 80-degree difference or something?
Well, luckily, in 12 hours we had a 65-degree temperature change. Luckily, it was my electric guitar, which is a lot more stable than that, but it is rough on the guitar. Like you're from New York,
Yeah.
you walk outside and it's 3 degrees outside. It was 80 in your house. It goes down to 2 degrees and then goes back up to 80 a half an hour later, and the wood is going like, kill me now.
Right.
It's hard.
And the electronics. I mean, that's the other side of it too. It's
Yeah, if you got a cold solder joint
just
or an
unbelievable.
imperfect solder joint, it's going to jump off in those kinds of temperature changes.
every time.
So speaking of place, I know you got your guys. Are you familiar with Bubble Up's Guitar Works there?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
sure
so you know Brian. Okay, yeah. See, look, I got it right this time. Brian.
It's about time.
Yes, Brian Hill.
Awesome. I mean,
plug intended.
another great part about this place is all the support. People are. We have recording studios, we have guitar techs, we have audio people, we have sound people. It's really a nice, and they're all part of the community as well. I feel like,
Yeah.
if you know Yo Bob, it's like,
Yes, everybody knows who Yo Bob is.
man. I mean, it's just great to have these guys who are like-minded and understand the work we're doing and understand that the sound is important to us and that the instruments are important to us and the way we sound is important to us.
So very cool. So is that maybe your MVP? Give a shout out, another shout out here. There, your guitar
Absolutely.
tech guys.
Yeah,
there?
Michael Paparo, no question. Phenomenal bass player, very nice human being, and he plays a 6-string bass. It's something to behold. Really a super talent.
Very cool. 6-string bass. Holy jeez.
So in my acoustic trio, he plays stand-up double bass.
No
and then in the
kidding.
electric trio, and in my band, The Bad Habits, he plays 6-string electric bass.
I hope he doesn't go to gigs like on a motorcycle or something like that, right?
He actually has a very small hatchback for a very long time, which is hysterical because he's also a very big man. So see the bear get out. He pulls out the stand-up bass.
Yeah, right.
It's like a clown car.
Is it the neck is sticking out the window like you went to Home Depot with the 2x4s and
Exactly that.
Yeah, what is the thing? Like, what kind of person would take $10,000 worth of gear and put it into a $2,000 car and drive for 4 hours to make $100?
A crazy person.
A crazy
Really,
person,
clearly.
and/or a musician.
or one of us.
Yeah,
Right. So we were talking last episode there about the new release here. So this is it here, Inside Out here. So
Coming out Friday.
that's right. So 10
Wait, what's the
songs?
date on your release?
Friday the 21st.
The 21st of June.
Summer solstice.
June. Okay.
Sweet. Oh,
So-
summer solstice is June 21. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
All right.
But you know when there's a date missing though.
I do. I know when the day
But
at
you
a
just
time
don't know
is
when summer
happening.
starts.
That's correct because I live in Florida. Summer starts on
Oh,
January.
yeah,
and
right.
It's over in November.
That's right.
So looking at here again, you mentioned there recorded at and worked with the guys at Raincat, so Jeff and Brian there, so past guests on the show there too. So very cool. So a didgeridoo. Okay, so I've only heard the one song that we did a review on.
right.
So you mentioned that in your bands in Arizona and so forth, there was like more of a Rusted Roots because they were huge at that time,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And more, I guess they called it a world sound. Is that the
Yeah, World Beat, sure enough.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I hear didgeridoo. Okay, so that's
Those are cool.
That's right.
so bass and okay, very cool. So I'm looking forward to listening to this. So there,
check it out.
I got to hear the music, but I didn't get to see the artwork.
Okay. So yes, kids, back in the old days when before you had the internet and you had nothing else to, you had Playboy magazines and album covers,
Spotify and Pandora.
Yeah.
We had to make CDs.
So you sit and listen, and you read through the entire CD albums, right? Yeah.
Back in my day, we had to go all the way to the store and get our music.
I love
we had
the
to
album
dig it out of a
covers, man.
bin and bring it home and put a needle on it and carve the sound out in real time.
Doesn't sound so primitive. We had to rub 2 sticks together. And,
Yeah.
Was Tuesdays? what was new release days? Was it Tuesdays? Is that
wasn't
still?
it Tuesdays?
Yeah, it was-
This is a Friday.
Yeah,
I said,
okay.
that's fine.
Yeah,
you know.
it's just
I don't know.
it's
That's right.
different, very different.
And yeah, I remember though, Endless Summer. Remember that record? You just opened it up. It was a double album, and that was a whole beach scene in there. It was like a whole world in there.
You did get to go to another world looking at that artwork.
It was. You listen to the music. You'd read the lyric. Look in there. That's
Wearing headphones like
that's
this,
that's
right?
right.
Pretty much, the
Exactly.
big muff headphones.
But it had the curly cable. On
yeah, right. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Back in the day.
I think there was, but yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned Rusted Root though. On the Drums and Rums podcast, I interviewed Jim Donovan.
Oh man, great, just great band.
Yeah.
And such a good live band. They just the place was like it's always like a church when they play. Somehow it's just very uplifting, and everybody's part of the experience. Loved it.
It's yeah. I guess again, Rusted Root's not performing together, but he still kind of keeps it carrying on, and with a lot of that stuff. Jim Donovan and Sunshine Warriors, something
right
like in Penn, but they don't gig outside of Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
so,
Philadelphia
yeah,
guys. They were
yep.
from Philly. My singer was from Philly, so
Okay, so so it's definitely very cool stuff. So we're okay. Other than physical copy here, where can folks pick that up?
it's going to be on. We were talking about that before. That making a CD is like making an 8-track tape because they don't. It's hard to even find people who have players anymore. So it'll be on Bandcamp for download. I like that platform; is very nice, and it'll be on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, all the usual suspects. So I'm still cracking the code on this. I haven't made a record of original material in probably 20 years. So
Oh wow,
none of that stuff was around the last.
Remind me to tell you about some of that stuff because we've been going through that journey ourselves, and it is true that the cost of making a record has gone way down. The accessibility of quality has gone way up, and anyone can release music. But what I have found, and tell me if you agree, is that now I'm an indie artist with no record label background. So I'm jumping into a chasm that has been gated off by the world's most successful, powerful, and wealthy corporations that have ever existed outside of the insurance industry. And they got all that stuff sewn up. And let me tell you, when someone can put an album out and you can't even it's not even searchable on the internet, but yet it went platinum. Like there's some manipulation of the numbers going on there that the record companies have some sort of magic, right? I don't have access to that in the same. I'm learning to crack a little bit of the code to make stuff happen, right. And I've got like thousands of listens. I just posted today. I got 19,000 monthly listeners on Spotify alone.
Congrats!
But people can put out a song that's not even, worth being a doorstop, but it's backed by a record company, and they get millions of views in like seconds.
Yeah, they call it the Seven Sisters. All the labels are now one of seven, a subsidiary of one of seven. It's not even an octopus anymore. I don't think it's like missing an arm. It's like
it's a septopus.
You said, there's gatekeepers. They always have, and even with all the access that we have, you said it. There's like you don't have the machine.
The machine, yeah. And it's not an evil machine. It's just an established machine.
No question. No, and I think you have to come to terms with that in some ways, that you have to, that we're going to do it anyway, because it's about reaching people and it's about sharing the music. And it's like, you just want to make it sound the way you hear it and you want it to sound. And then you just put it out there and you go on and you move on to the next one or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, being a musician is not something that you do. It's something that you are.
One question.
And so with that in mind, I learned a very valuable phrase, and it's really an action plan, and that is do something even if it's wrong. And the reason why that's valid is because the only way you can find out if you did the right or wrong thing is to have done it and look back and decide. If you're waiting your whole life to make the right first step, you're never going anywhere.
You said it.
You got to make that first step. Like even if you're in archery, you blindfold yourself and shoot an arrow and then take the blindfold off, and then you can realize, oh, the target's over there. But you never would have known if you hadn't shot the arrow in the first place.
The perfection paralysis. I know so many musicians I know suffer from that. The self-destruct button and the perfection paralysis is like the two most prevalent diseases I know.
Exactly. So that was what got me to actually finally, after all these millions of years, put out an album. And now, in the course of doing it, I'm learning how to do it right.
Right. And then you get excited about what comes next.
The next one, absolutely.
As I said, part of the excitement of being like, this is coming out is like, oh, I got the next 4 already like in the works.
Because once you break the seal on something, then the flow happens.
It's exciting and fun.
Yeah, so all of you budding musicians out there, do something even if it's wrong. And make it public so everyone can tell. And then they'll tell you how you should be.
They will tell you.
Internet will let you know.
They will let you know.
That's the one downside of pre-internet was you didn't have all that, right?
I guess
yeah.
maybe. I feel like there's no criticism is not new, you know.
Right.
And like could have done it better. Everybody always thinks they could have done it better or faster, quicker.
Oh yeah, that's the guitar player joke. How many guitar players does it take to screw in a light bulb? 6. 1 to actually screw it in, and then 5 to stand there and say, "I could have done that faster."
Done that faster, better.
Yeah.
So, Jason, last episode we talked about obviously, growing up in the Northeast and moving around and college and touring and bands and gigs and so forth. What is who's somebody right now that that is still out there performing? That you're still surprised to see that they're out there performing.
Surprised?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the Rolling Stones or something like that, right?
Yeah, I guess the Stones is clear, the one that everybody sort of defers to because they've just been at it for so long, and
Right.
it's like, and the people who go to see them still leave those shows, and they just have had an amazing time. Which is that if you can still deliver the goods, I guess it's that's what it comes down to. Some of these acts that you see even just go to Vegas is like blows my mind, man, and it's like, but. You see, they talk to these guys. Some of them are just having the time of their lives.
Well, so speaking of Vegas, right, and then speaking of Crazy Fingers, right, is there was a show, I guess the Grateful Dead and John Mayer, they're performing as
Dead and Company.
residency at the Sphere. What is it
Oh,
called?
they're at the Sphere? Oh, that
Is that
is
what it is,
going
the
to be
Sphere?
a trip to
Yeah.
remember.
Seriously.
So I mean, again, I've seen videos like the whole screen behind them. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Some friends from Arizona just went, and they were all raving.
Yeah, I mean,
They've had people have to be escorted out because they got like massive motion sickness and stuff from
Yeah,
the
so you could be-
immersive theater that this
Could you be at that? But can you imagine being in that concert? Because we know some people may partake in something, and see all of that visualization and stuff.
They're going to have trip coaches there. Make sure that nobody has a bad trip. Seriously.
Yeah. Exactly, Dino. Yeah, that's right. So, you're not speaking from experience, are you?
Yes, no. He said
no.
yes, no.
Yes, wink, wink.
Vegas was just not my thing.
That's right. So the Stones, it's bands like that are still kind of out
The
there.
Stones out there. Martin Sexton blows my mind. If you've never seen Martin, again, he just turns the room into a church. Amazing songwriter, singer-songwriter, super talent. I mean, he's the triple threat. He can play, he could write, he can sing. The songs are timeless. And every time I see him, I'm wondering if he's lost a step. And every time he just delivers the goods. And it's inspiring to see that,
So as a musician, right, and seeing other musicians perform, or maybe musicians who are maybe at a touring musician or whatnot, do you get that feeling? You're like, man, I'm so excited! I can't wait to get home. I want to grab my guitar. I want to, seeing live music. It's just kind of
that's the best of it. It makes you want to play. That's a high compliment. If somebody says, "I watch you and then I want to go home and play the guitar," you're like, that's the highest compliment.
Yeah, I can tell I'm the most inspired when like I'm writing music in my head during the show.
Right.
Jotting it down so I don't forget.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't see as much music as I would like to because a lot of times it's like they're working the same nights they come to town, or you're working the same nights as somebody else who you want to see, or it's your night off and you're like, the last place I want to be is like in a bar or a venue. But it's still pretty inspiring stuff.
Or you want to go, but you're just like a blob on the floor because you
That's
put it
exactly
all
right.
on the field.
So I guess that's a good question for you guys. Is with that being said, that all of your fellow musicians here in the area that are busy, they're playing somewhere, like everyone's, so you never get a chance to have a night off or whatever. Or if you do, you'd rather you'd love to go out and see music and support your peers.
That's right.
But you're like, shit, it'd be great just to fucking crash at home and whatever, eat ramen noodles and But I mean, do you have that feeling when you see a fellow musician show up to one of your shows? I mean, is there like
it's a boost. It sure is.
It's super cool.
Yeah, it
because
really
I know
is.
you just mentioned that going to see one of it.
Well, the boost, like when they show up, that's one thing because they probably didn't even know you were there. But when they don't leave, that's when
That's
it's
it,
really
right.
cool.
That's right. No, it's great. Yeah, no, a very supportive community here too. It's just great. It's a great crew here for sure. Dead Soldier.
Yes, I rang that out. Every drop is out.
Still Luck whiskey. I think there's holes in the bottle here, or is
Hey, what's the warranty on that? There's a big hole in the top of it.
So
This stuff is good. And it was made in the future, 7/24. It was bottled.
next month,
The date bottled, it says 7/24.
or maybe it was 1924.
Maybe it was 1924.
All right, well, Still Luck, help us out here with explaining what represents. Since I'm not the guitarist in house here, right? So let me ask some guitar questions, right? So what is what is some of your gear set up, or
I played the Godin acoustic. The electric I played, which I only play a couple times a year, is a Gibson SG, which I love. I found it in a pawn shop. It was from 1975. On a daily, the pedal board is I use an old style RC20 loop, just stop and start. Makes sense to me intuitively. I love that one. I use a Harmony G. I play the acoustic through the pedal board I had for my band, so I have some colors in there too. This way, when I create the loop acoustic, then I can switch over to more electric tones. So I have a TS9 distortion pedal in there. I have an old phase shifter, a small stone
Ooh, love those.
from the early 1980s, and it looks
Small
like it too. But man,
stones,
that thing turns the heads. It's the classic Kurt Cobain phase tone, and if you hit that pedal, people don't even play the guitar. Go, what just happened in here? It's just
That's an
never-
iconic
It
sound.
never
I love
fails.
that sound.
So the distortion in that phase is like, the classic Cobain is like just right there under your hand, and that's it. And the delay, and then everything else. I have the rest of the pedal board is all just for building loops. So it's like volume and gain stages. I just recently added a pedal that makes a bass tone, and it's the best one I've heard. Great tracking, no delay at all. So that allows me now, because if you could do the full arrangement, which to me is rhythm, melody, and that's and percussiveness. So it's like if I can play percussion on the instrument and then put down a bass, and then I can play on top of that. That's sort of the full arrangement. So it's fun to reinvent the song arrangements by yourself, having all those tones and stuff at your
Right.
disposal.
do you think most people that are at venues and shows that and quite a few other folks that are in the area, that loop also is adding that element? I guess, how well do you feel that it comes across, that people understand?
I intentionally try to understate it. I don't try to draw attention to it and say, "Hey, I'm making all of this live," or "This is all me,"
Right.
Or,
Or when you walk off stage to go to the bathroom, but there's
and it's
music
still
performing,
going.
like, how the hell is he doing that?
That's right. So I try. It's usually at the point at which because I'll capture the rhythm of a song while I'm playing it and singing it, so that then I switch to second line, and it's like the rhythm is already there and it like stays there. So it's usually at the point at which you get to that, and then there's a harmony vocal that somebody turns around and says, "That's one guy," and that doesn't make sense to my brain that I'm hearing all those tones. But a lot of times it goes right past them. But I feel like for the player, because to sit and just play and sing is like, especially over 4 hours, you're going to end up playing 60 songs. It's just crazy. So to be able to stretch out and do leads and build arrangements and more dynamic and cut down the number of songs you're playing so they become more expressive. I think that's what people respond to, even if they don't necessarily notice what you're doing technically.
I agree. It's the experimentation and the stretching out that people respond to
right.
more than just churning through the song's rope.
Because it's more interesting and exciting for yourself to play the songs in that way when you could do all the stuff that you could bring to the table.
Right.
And it's more like recording in that it's like you're sort of multi-tracking, but you're doing it on the fly. So it's great creative tools, but I use them more like guitar pedals than I don't typically spend a minute building a loop and then play a song to it. It's like I'll build it as I'm playing the song.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, because I've seen artists who do that, where they'll just sit there and go like,
Right.
and like for a minute, and then they'll go like on top with their mouth, and it's like, are we gonna hear a song this hour or what?
You'd be like, you could just play to the tracks and achieve the same principle, So I building them live, you could change the tempos. I always found that I never could really play to the tracks. It's unforgiving.
So I guess that this is interesting. So when did when did looping become pretty popular?
When I first moved here in 2005, I did not see a lot of people doing it. It was shortly after that we got Big Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, which was like, everybody was like, oh my God, what is she doing? So I got that loop pedal probably in about 2006 or 7, and it lived in my board for a year before I stepped on it because I was like not confident enough in working it to actually engage
Right.
on the gig. But then I would say about 2008, 2009 was about the time when I started using it on every gig, and I started to see it more and more of these artists doing it. And then a friend said to me, "You got to hear this harmony pedal because it's huge. It will there's a robot in there. It reads a guitar chord and it makes an intelligent harmony, they call it. So it's not just third and a fifth, or it's like it's listening. If you go to a bridge and there's some different chord, it makes a different tone, and it's taking your voice and it's reproducing it.
Wow.
So it's deep. So you get into that, and all of a sudden you have harmony. Because that some of the things you really miss, even just a guitar duo, is great because you get two guitar parts and you get harmony vocals, and it's like if you can do all that by yourself, it's like it's pretty amazing. It changes your whole mode of playing and songcraft and all that.
I've got to find this. I saw this guitar pedal or some type of device that if you pour alcohol into it and it makes like, I don't know how it works. It's all, magic, I guess, but it's some bizarre. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to find out. I'll get back to you guys.
Or alcohol in it, it plays the guitar. Is it called the McLaughlin pedal?
Oh my God, love that.
That is hilarious. We need to make one of those.
Yes.
Definitely should be green like a TS9 with a funnel on the top. But when it comes to looping, like I first got exposed to looping when I saw a video of Imogen Heap. She's an English singer, and she did a song called "Just for Now," and she was using like a Fairlight or something crazy expensive,
Right.
like computer gear, and it was live. And she just did. Look it up. It's called "Just for Now" by Imogen Heap, and I was like, that's insane.
I've always been a huge fan of John Martin. That's 1970s. Kind of a Brit, like Clapton's covered a couple of his songs. And I go back and watch videos, and he was doing this in the 1970s with an Echoplex, the delay pedal, and a sound hole pickup taped into his acoustic guitar. So when I said there's nothing new under the sun. This guy in the 1970s was looping his acoustic.
You know what? And now you brought me back to Frippertronics.
There you go.
Robert Fripp is
Fripp.
actually the father of looping.
I bet you're
because
right.
The reason why they
League of
call it
Crafty
looping.
Guitarists or whatever that was.
He was the guy behind King Crimson.
That's right.
And Frippertronics, the reason why they call it looping is because what he did, this was the 60s he did it, where he took two reel-to-reel tape recorders, and he took like 2 miles of tape, and he looped it between the two. And he had them on wheels, and he could spread them out to make more time. And instead, then digital delay technology came from this too, where he would just play a loop of tape, he would record onto it, and then play over it. So, really, he's the
first of the first.
He's the first that I did hear, yeah. Sorry, Imogen. It was Robert.
That's right.
I always say, kind of find it very interesting. So about the looping aspect of it. So I guess before we're going to do a song review here, but I guess let me ask you this quick question, and this probably could open up Pandora's box. So you've been here, and as we mentioned, you're in the scene here for a while, quite a while. You both have, right? And a lot that we've discussed with other guests is just that what we haven't seen, you're putting effort in there, you're trying to put more into your show to provide more sound and so forth, but that commiserate of compensation, right? We've seen, when I was in a cover band about 7 years ago, it was like $400 for 4 guys for 3 hours, Right, and that probably hasn't changed. What was that?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Trucks coming through here. I think we just got trucked on that, check, yeah. But yeah, I mean, have you seen that, or have you experienced that, or do you feel that it's?
I feel like it's
creeping
always
up?
been a struggle in this industry. I
Yeah.
think it's like we've been talking about this a long, long time. That it's like the wage hasn't moved since 1988. You know, I mean, I think the $100 a man equation was
Musicians actually make less now
1992,
than
right.
when it started.
1992 when I started doing this. I think $100 a man was standard. You know, and it's like remains the same. It's at a proper venue, I guess, where they understand what it is you're bringing to the table, and they understand that it makes a difference in the receipts, and that you can't just I say they'll sell anyone one of those PAs. You don't need a license. You could just go into the Guitar Center and buy one. So it's I feel like sometimes the managers or the owners aren't the most discerning people in terms of they're just going to hire, they're like, oh, it makes sense if I can get a 4-piece band for $400. Why am I going to pay this other band $1,000? Where it's not always apples to apples.
No, definitely not. But yeah, there are those. But then like we talked about this before. When it comes to venues, there's, in my opinion, there's two kinds of venues. There's an established bar restaurant business that has music because it makes that part better, and then there's the music venue that has added, drinks and food because they want people to stay.
Right.
And it's two completely different mindsets.
No question.
You've dealt with, when you're dealing with an MOD or a talent buyer who runs a restaurant, he doesn't care if you even have, two heads or
No,
legs.
but it's our responsibility to understand the work in such a way that there's a difference between a show and a gig. And if you walk into one of those venues, you should be bringing the correct product. So I don't go into a menu venue and try to put on a concert.
That's a great way to put it, a menu venue.
I go in there and I play the room and I play age. A lot of times I say I do math. I look at the age of people in the room and I do the math in my head to say what year was it when these people were in their 20s, because that's when music is the most important to you, and those are the songs I play.
So you're playing jazz music. Top 40 from the 30s.
Not anymore, man. You'd be surprised, brother, because at 55, I mean, these cats are closer to my age,
yeah.
So if I play, a lot of times I play 90s now, and the young people come up to me and they go, that's the stuff my parents played when I was going to grade school, and it's their Nirvana, and they love it.
Yeah.
90s has become huge. Again, if you're almost...
Which, stop that. Because they didn't even do guitar solos in the 90s.
Here we
the
go
whole
again.
era needs to be erased.
It was a great time period. There,
No
the
offense to
90s
those
was
bands.
Great.
I thought there was great guitar work happening in the 90s. It just wasn't always like milli.
Oh man.
Oh, we got a debate now. I like it.
Yes, that's right. So
That guy in Stone Temple Pilots, man. I mean, he plays. They sound like open tunings, but they're not. That's just pure creativity,
Well, I got a closed-minded attitude about the 90s because in the 90s I was all about the guitar solo. And they didn't have those then.
I understand, bro.
well, let's find out here if our song review of the week here, what kind of solos they may have in this song that we're going to
Let's go find out. And this is actually, while you're setting this up, this is a band right out of Port St. Lucie.
Oh, right on.
And it's some friends of mine. A guy named Desi is the mastermind behind the project. And my friend Russ Miller is actually the vocalist. And Russ is a future guest on the show.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
And I was very impressed with the production of this because basically Desi did this at his house. So this is a home recording. And it's a band called A Moment of Violence. And this is their first single off of the current album. It's called My Endless Nightmare.
Okay. So I'm new to the band here, so let's give it a listen here.
That's Desi right there. And Russ is the one in the red and white shirt. tight drums.
Very driving.
Great voice. A lot of guys who do that steak and throat thing can't melodically sing.
I like the back and forth between the big guitar and the tight rhythm.
Guitars are great.
Creative use of the mute button in this. I like it.
I thought it was a glitch there.
Yeah,
Little,
it's meant to be that way.
There's no reflection of what goes on in Port St. Lucie, right?
Oh no, not even close.
Okay, checking. Wow, this is really good production. And again, I know we say
Yeah, this is just a regular Tuesday at Dress Size. Yeah.
so. Let me see. We got two singers here.
No, I think that other guy is just the alternate personality that's driving Russ to kill everybody.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so there it is. So I'm going to give it to you. I know it was very driving, and I know we're listening to this in mono. So, but I'm going to have to go riffs here.
And I was thinking about that, but every riff is doubled with the drum riff.
So we're not going to bring the riff them up, are we?
No, it's a drum riff that mirrors the guitar. So let's stick with riff.
Just so you know, he said drum first. Okay, drum riff. Exactly.
It was way better than that drum riff. But yeah, I mean, this song, first off, it's very clean. When they do those mute button effects, like there is like no hiss, there's like it's silence, and it really makes the song more dramatic. And I like the juxtaposition of the big ringing guitars with the tight.
Yeah, super dynamic.
chunk,
and then
chunk.
they go to break down and just the vocal back there.
Yeah, it's a good arrangement. Good job, y'all.
Yeah. So where are you going?
I'm going riff.
The riff. Okay. Jason.
Yeah, I think riff.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think overall we're a little torn a little bit because there is definitely good.
It's not a riff them. It's the drummer doubling the riff as opposed to the guitar player playing in time with the drum part. Is what the way it comes across to me.
So maybe very much like how Metallica was, right? A lot of their stuff in the '90s, right? They were very large,
Figure driven and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Figure driven. That's the way to put it.
So all right. So a moment of
Yeah, AMOV for short, a moment of violence,
okay.
which is clearly illustrated in this.
Do they make a lullaby version of that song for the kids?
Yeah, it's the "You'll Never Fall Asleep After This" song.
The "Something Is Under Your Bed Goodnight"
Yeah, right,
version of the song.
So do you know where places where they play, or are you familiar?
They just played. I think they played at Revolution Live down.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
South Florida.
Okay.
That's the only
yeah.
gig I'm aware of. But
Okay.
Desi is always posting on social media about how they're doing well on the DRT charts,
All right.
and they deserve it. That's good. That's high quality stuff.
So,
Sure is.
so another song that we're adding to our playlist, our ever-growing playlist here.
Yes.
So if you haven't checked it out there on Spotify, there's a Riffs and Rhythms playlist here. So Jason's song is on the playlist there. We reviewed his song,
Thorn.
a few weeks ago, Thorn. Kevin's song. So on all of our guests that have come on, or we've done a band out of Tampa. Yeah, that probably pairing Red Calling up with these guys.
Red Calling and an AMOV show would be a good
Oh,
one.
that'd be awesome there. So definitely check that out. So, a moment. And you said that we were going to line these guys up, or
Well,
try to.
the singer in this band is also the singer from Metalluscious.
Oh,
And so we're going to have Russ and Jim, the drummer from Metalluscious, going to add an episode coming soon.
A double feature.
Another drummer. That's good.
So-
It's not
Yeah,
just
a drum, so he won't be so alone.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're gonna have all
it helps when they have a
species.
friend.
A
Kevin.
pair- a
We're
pair.
gonna have every musical orientation:
So two-
singer, guitarist, a drummer, and drummer.
Is this a two pair or a full house, right? Joker's Wild. Thank you. I'll be here all weekend.
There you go. Right on.
So very cool. So yeah, looking forward to that though. So yeah, so check out their Moment of Violence there and add it to our new Spotify Addy. And well, I guess
And I typically don't listen to what is that? What would that be considered, like new metal, or screamo, or I don't know, what do the kids call it nowadays? I don't even know.
it's
But
weird.
it's way heavier than what I would normally listen to. But I do have a playlist that's got all that kind of
Okay.
stuff. I like that sort of thing.
Cool.
I don't play it myself, but I enjoy it.
Yep. So very cool. So all right. So we've got our review there for this song here. So definitely check them out. Support again. They're local here to the Treasure Coast area, and yeah. So definitely let's do this. So
Right on. So we are still in the planning stages for the Riffs and Rhythms podcast festival,
that's right.
on which you are invited to perform.
Come in.
Yep. So we will
We'll be doing that. We got to schedule that soon, or else nobody's going to be available.
No, I know. You already were giving me shit today about something else that you were trying to lock down, and you're waiting for me to give you an answer. And hopefully tomorrow, Kevin and I will determine if Kevin and I are going to go down to the Rum Fest, Key West Rum Fest.
Key West Rum Fest.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, it does.
I had somebody call me and ask me if I was available on the weekend, and I'm like, oh, I see on my calendar that I'm penciled in to drink rum that weekend in Key West, so I need to double check this.
Yep.
And yes, please tell me soon.
Yep. So noon. We're gonna have a call tomorrow. So noon. We're gonna find it out there. So that is August, week of the 12th. So down in Key West Rum Festival, August 14th through the 18th. August 16th is National Rum Day. So, and our good friend Brad was trying to hit me up to come on the show on the 14th. I said, I might be in Key West, man, drinking
I don't know
rum.
what to do. And how would someone get hooked up with all things Jason Montero?
The website is jasonmontero.com. My Facebook is jasonmonteromusic.com. Those are probably the main two. That's linked to everything else and anything else.
And you've got a Bandcamp link on those websites there?
Yeah. There's a Bandcamp link. I think that's also Jason Montero Music at Bandcamp.
Yeah. And for those of you who are not familiar with Bandcamp, that is the online store for independent musicians. And you can go to Bandcamp and buy Inside Out. And when you buy the CD, you get the advantage that the digital download comes with it for free.
Right.
That's a Bandcamp thing.
Very cool.
So-
Very cool.
Buying a CD from a musician is like listening to the song like 200 billion times. We make the same amount of money.
That's right.
So, just buy the CD, support us, because, we got to pay the rent somehow.
So, Jason, you got CDs available at the shows?
I will, yes. I
Okay.
just got. I use Kunaki. I think we were talking about that. That's a great service. Also, a robot where I've never seen anything like it. You can make CDs in runs of one. You can make one or two. In fact, my father-in-law plays in a band with his buddy. They call themselves the Crying Shames, and
it's silver on the back?
it's silver on the back. So for just a surprise for him and his buddy, I had made them 2 or 3 CDs of the Crying Shames, just because you can do them in these small runs, so it becomes just like a really fun thing to do. But so rather than make, I probably still have boxes in my garage of CDs from the band from 20 years ago because you make.
Oh, well, now that you got a new one out, you could bring those out
So,
and sell them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to be able to make them 20 and 30 at a time.
Yeah.
And just that. And I mean, I think they look great. They're 4-color on there and all that. So that's nice to be able to have that. I'd never seen that before, to be able to make small runs,
We truly live in the future.
We really do, man. It's nice.
So cool. So check out there. Go see Jason, support Jason, buy a CD, buy a shirt or whatever you've got there. Again, like the guy said, it's a big thing to support in that sense of the merch, right? And most touring bands, that's a big part of what that helps finance is the merch, right?
Right. Merch is where it's at because you can't make any money selling CDs anymore because
Yep.
they're free.
Yep. So
But you got to buy them anyway. How do you reconcile that? Like I really find satisfaction in our sales skills because we're selling shit you get for free, basically, which is a good feeling. It's nice because what that means is you, the general public, are willing to pony up to support music, and that means a lot.
Yeah, on some of those platforms, it's like you put a price on it and then it says allow them to pay more, which seems like a crazy. So of course you hit the checkbox, but it blows my mind how often someone will buy the record and
Yeah.
give you more than you
You're
ask
asking
them
for.
to pay for.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
then
hope for humanity, after all.
so and you've got some stuff you bundle with your CD and through the shot glasses and so forth. You got anything like Jason Montero promise rings to sell with a CD or something?
No, no merch. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
working on some koozies.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Koozies are good. I used to see a band in Arizona called Itis, and they were amazing, amazing band. But the first band I ever saw, they had a clothing rack like you'd see in J.C. Penney's. They would come in before they even set up the PA. 14 different T-shirts, on the clothing rack in every size, and lighters that were bottle openers. And I said, these guys are masters of the merch game. I mean, way ahead of their time in that sense,
Yeah.
So, right on. I always figured. I said, those are the guys to emulate. Just get all the stuff, man.
They all learn at the altar or the foot of Gene Simmons.
He was the master.
The best
He had
marketer.
action figures
Yes.
in the 70s, man.
Kiss
And
blood.
movies and everything.
That's right. That's right.
That's what we need.
Kiss
That's
lunchboxes.
That's what we need to do. Like Kevin
Like a
McLaughlin,
like
Kevin McLaughlin movie. Kevin McLaughlin meets the Phantom of the Theme Park.
Kevin McLaughlin bobbleheads.
But think
That's possible. So so we're gonna make note of that. All right. So we're gonna get him for his birthday.
but think of the genius
Put it right
behind
on
it.
his motorcycle. He's
Like-
driving down the street.
Imagine it's 1974, right? And you're in Kmart and you're talking your mom into buying you a metal lunchbox with these horrible looking characters on it that represent everything that your parents want you to avoid, right? And you're able to talk your mom into buying that lunchbox for you. That is genius marketing. Like, I want to learn how to do that.
He's a master.
This sounds like a true story. Actually,
This is absolutely the truth. How many people? I mean, go to eBay right now and find out how much it would take to buy a freaking Metal Kiss lunchbox.
Right, it's still
Guarantee you-
valuable.
I guarantee
It's
you
more valuable.
4 figures at least.
If you have the figurines at home, they're probably worth thousands.
I think the best I still have is a Kiss Alive 2 album somewhere in the house. So just can't play it because I don't have a record player.
Yeah, I mean that is genius marketing. Like Gene Simmons is my mentor in marketing because up until the last show that they did, like the marketing thing that he did is he had a nightly package deal. It was $10,000, and he played 2 basses every night. Before sound check, his bass tech would assemble them. Why? Because Gene Simmons owned both of the companies that made the basses, the Axe bass and the one bass that's on the cover of a live album. And his bass tech would assemble them, string them up. He would play them, spit blood on them, and give them to the person who bought the 10 grand package. And the $10,000 marketing package included round trip airfare, hotel, VIP seating, backstage meet and greet, and a bass for you plus one.
First guy ever. I mean, now that's like, the VIP ticket
yeah.
and the meet and greet.
Everyone does it
That
now.
was him.
Yeah.
He was he's got a side thing selling his basses for 20 grand a night. Like, that's genius. I want to learn how to do that. I want to have enough demand to be able to do that.
Sure. Well, you can definitely do that. You can offer up, stuff from Kevin McLaughlin's shows, like a bandana that you worn, and then
getting there.
maybe offer like an Uber ride to the gig. You could do a whole package there.
Well, still, I make more money by not playing in certain towns because people be like, they get together and like, if Kevin's not going to play here, like, put your money in.
So, actually, speaking about shows and so forth, we do have, we'll be dropping a little bit more details about it, was a ticket giveaway, right? So, we've got a 2 tickets to give away, 2 tickets to Paradise. No, it's not to see Eddie Money. I think he died already, right? Too soon?
Yeah, he's dead.
He's
Yeah.
dead. All right, so it's not to go
It's
see
free
Eddie
to
Money.
go there.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so 2 tickets, lawn tickets to the Sammy Hagar Loverboy concert coming up in July.
Is there still enough tickets left so that we can go?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So come and hang out with us. So we'll get you more details on the
I love Sammy Hagar.
how to win those
In a
tickets.
very, Benny Hill kind of way.
Anyway, so we have a great time here tonight, Jason. Thank you for joining us here.
Thanks
So,
for having me.
check out Jason again. Just go and support local music there. He's part of the community here. Again, this is what we're all just talking about: is whether it's solo shows, as trios, as band stuff, and like you said, sounds like you can't throw swing a dead cat and probably find you somewhere performing, right?
I'm anywhere they'll have me.
Yeah. So, again, thanks for tuning in here. So, again, check out all of our stuff here. Check out Kevin McLaughlin Band's website here, dayoutoftimefest.com. Drums and Rums podcast. Check us out on the Drums and Rums channel. They're on audio format, Apple, Spotify, etc. And I think we cover everything.
Well, let's just go ahead and double check.
Yeah, hit the
make sure
bell.
everybody knows that your life is truly not complete until you've seen Jason Montero play. The guy totally fucking rocks.
Thank you, sir.
That's the applause you get every night, right?
Oh yeah, it sounds just like that. I thought I was at a gig.
So, all right. So we got some stuff to do here. So this is a great show, man. This is great to get a chance to
Yeah, good, great guest makes the time go quickly.
Right. So don't forget, check out his new CD there. So let's blow this popsicle stand.
All right, let's stick a fork in this one too.
That's right. So all right.
So here we are. You started this time. I started every time.
I know, but that's okay. This is the Rhythms podcast, and I am Paul Robertson, and yes, I switched it up.
Okay, now I know why we started first. Now I should go first, shouldn't I?
Go for it.
Trying to be, what's the word? Chivalrous. But I suppose that's inappropriate.
Chivalrous.
So hey, let me put my announcer voice on. Hey everybody, I'm Kevin McLaughlin, and this is the Riffs
and Rhythms podcast. I'm Paul Robertson. Thank you for joining us tonight. Cheers.